What I'm going to talk today is role of education in innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship. I think all young of you, those who are listening to me, is very, very important for the country. Before I start today's deliberation, I would like to spend about 5 to 7 minutes time about my institute. This is a CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Institute, specifically aimed for institutes working in minerals and materials technology, established in 1963. So we have about 490 staff members, having about 107 scientists. But if you see, with the 107 scientists, we work with a capital of about, let's say, about 110 crore. But out of which you can see that we can get only 68 crore from CSIR, but 44 crore we generate on our own, which roughly about more than 40% of the budget we generate. ECF means external cash flow. That means a project that we get from outside. So which means that about more than 40%, close to 45% of our budget actually generated by on our own. And we work in the area of mineral processing because this is a very mineral rich area, the Odisha. And also we cater to West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and everywhere, wherever the ores are available in Rajasthan, in Northeast, in Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, everywhere. So we work on mineral processing, we work on metal extraction. So these are the area that we work on. I mean, ferrous metal, their alloys. I mean, concentrating it and then extractive metallurgy in the area of non-ferrous metal like tungsten, cobalt, nickel, vanadium. And we work on powder metallurgy, alloys, materials, chemistry in terms of coating. And then, of course, we work also on environmental issues related to mining area, reclamation of mine, phytoremediation. We work on pollution in terms of air pollution monitoring, water pollution, water purification, and a lot of societal work that we do. So these are the areas that we work on: environmental engineering support. We give a total turnkey solution for a big plant that we work on, let's say on metal extraction or mineral processing. So this is typically in mineral processing. We are currently working with a technology called reduction roasting in a fluidized bed with a coal gas. And this is, of course, is by this process, it is possible to process ore of lean and low grade ore. Why this is so important? In the context of Atmanirbhar Bharat and that topic we are talking about, that India soon going to produce, India currently produces 107 million tons of steel per annum, which is second in world ranking after China, which produces about 890 million tons. So you can see that there's a big difference between us and China, and we are second in the world, just took over Japanese, who are about 103 million tons per annum. But if our GDP growth crosses about 10%, and then there will be a lot of use of steel. Steel is basic structure that goes inside making a bridge, building, wherever you talk about. If you have a growth of your chemical plant or petroleum refinery, everywhere you require steel. So if your the goal is to have a steel production of 300 million tons by 2030, and then where the ore will come from, you cannot, if you have to import ore from outside, then it would be very costly. So if we have a lot of deposits of lean and low grade iron ore, so this is the way to process them. We also work, as I say, strategic minerals like tungsten, which hugely used in defense. All these guns and Bofors guns and all the rifles, everything is made of tungsten because it's a highly dense material, very strong. Titanium is another thing that we import. We produce only 10% of our requirement of titanium, but 90% imported. We have a technology from titanium from ilmenite, which you get in sand or beach sand. We also work on platinum group of metal. And of course, the new thing that we have started is lithium. We have a technology on lithium extractions from spodumene and lepidolite. And with the help of Geological Survey of India, we now found a deposit in Jharkhand, Karnataka, and Rajasthan. And we are working on our own mineral of spodumene and lepidolite and extraction of lithium from there. Because if the e-mobility is going to be a very successful venture in India, if you even see a 10 to 20% of cars are running on lithium-ion battery, then you require a constant supply of lithium. So I think if we have an ore within India, then it's the best thing to do. Otherwise, you have to get from China or Australia or Central America. So we also, on the hydroelectrometallurgy, we work all non-ferrous metal. Like we work cobalt and EMD. These are the two things goes into the battery in electrolytic manganese dioxide. We are actually revamping Nagpur Moil plant. And we have given a technology on cobalt, which also goes in lithium-ion battery. And from cobalt, from secondary sources, we don't have primary source. How can you get cobalt from the scrap? That technology we have given to Mithani. There's various things. We're working on fly ash, we're working on red mud, e-waste, spent catalyst, urban mining is the main things going to come in coming 100 years. Because you do not have the sources, and why don't you recycle your sources, e-waste, or any other waste that you create, you can take the valuables from there and then recycle it. That's the way forward. The other important part that we are working on, rare earth extraction. I think magnets are, when you have magnets, let's say about a car. Car would have thousands of magnets, including your actuators, your sensors, your motors. So this required rare earth to make, let's say, NdFeB magnet, neodymium iron boron magnet, or samarium cobalt magnet. You require samarium or Nd, neodymium. These are all rare earth metals, and so rare earth elements. So these need to have source inside. Otherwise, you have to heavily depend on China. So that we are working on monazite beach sand to get neodymium. We are working on recycling of used magnet to get samarium. So these are the technology that we are working here in IIMMT. We are developed. We are going for a pilot scale. Some cases we have gone for pilot scale, and then we are now transferring the technology. There's more on advanced material and material chemistry. We work heavily on pyrometallurgy, how to make green steel. Steel produces a lot of greenhouse gases in the blast furnace. Can I use hydrogen plasma to make steel? Yes. Then we are working on ferromanganese, ferronickel, ferrochrome, using hydrogen with a good ore, instead of using coal or coke for reduction. So there you don't make carbon dioxide. Powder metallurgy, we're working on tungsten. We supply tungsten cube that is a penetrator that goes into a missile cone, or missile would work as a projectile or penetrator through anything. These tungsten cubes are very heavy, small, and having an edge of pyramid or spheres or cubes. We work on coating, hard coating, a diamond coating, and a lot of things. We are working on energy material, functional material, and environmental pollution abatement. For that, whatever material development is required, we are all working on. We have very good plasma processing facility in our lab, and we do a lot of processing, that, let's say, red mud, how you can get iron titanium carbide from red mud using plasma, which is a waste. So waste to wealth is another thing that we are working on. That's keeping aside, we do work on a lot of things on our incubation center that has recently come up. We call it Innovation Technology Enabling Center, INTEC, and of course CRTDH, Common Research and Technology Development Hub for MSMEs. So in a combination of CRTDH and INTEC, a synergy is being built so that we actually help local MSMEs, we help local startup, starting from Odisha, and then of course pan India, we would like to help them. So we have a structure in place CRTDH and Intech. Right now, this sector, you will not see a sector of mineral and material on which you have a startup or you have an incubation center or CRTDH. So our main thrust is minerals and materials startup. And of course, we would help others as well. So like building material from fly ash or let's say metal handicrafts, we have very rich handicrafts, artisans in Orissa, but they require a lot of help, benchmarking, improvement in their livelihood, improved furnace, efficient furnace, holding the object. They use belly to hold the object and then they end up with a cancer in the colon. There's a lot of case among the artisans, Dokra, art, bell metal, and brass. We're working on e-waste. So e-waste collection and a small unit can be an MSME or SME unit at the back of, in your garage or backside of your home, where you can extract valuable, yet you want to process them in a very environmental friendly manner. So these are the things that we are working on. We work a lot on social sectors. Like we have a project with 12 labs together. It is curated by Indian Institute of Minerals and Metals Technology, Bhubaneswar, working in a Nabarangpur district, which is a aspirational district in Odisha. And then we are on farm-based ascent intervention in these in the villages of the district of Nabarangpur. And there's a tremendous improvement in the livelihood, and we have showcased from farming to post-harvesting, for healthcare, every sector we are working with all these institutes like NBRI, or you can say Regional Medical Research Center for Healthcare, Institute of Life Sciences, or our own institute like Institute of Petroleum, Food and Technology Research Institute, MISO, CFTRI, and whole lot of things. So this is what we work on. Let's say now coming back to today's talk, very important for all of us, the young people, those who are here to listen to this, that our topic is on Atmanirbharta, at the same time new education policy, and then of course the entrepreneurship. I think those who are young can take this forward. So what is that I would like to highlight here? You must be knowing that there is a supply chain disruption because during the COVID-19 time. There was globalization in 80s and 90s, even the early part of this century. But now a sort of deglobalization also is a new world order, because COVID-19 taught us that when you are in trouble, you are on your own. You have to find your own solution. You have to source material within the country. And of course, if there is a geopolitical situation is created, then you had it. That means you really on your own, and you have to source material as much as possible within India or from the friendly states. So with this background, it is then important to, as the clarion call of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, that Atmanirbharta or Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India. So we were already working about making India or made in India for Atal Mission and Amrut, that Atal Mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation. Under these schemes, a lot of things can be done. And how it can be done is what we are going to discuss today. I think then we have research and innovation parks, the startups and the ACZ. Okay, these are already there in place, and many research parks or incubation centers that just I talked about are coming up. Research parks are bigger, incubation centers can be just part of it, okay? And then NEP has come, all of these are so important. With this background, I'm going to move forward, that what difference we need to bring to our education system so that we have this startup entrepreneurship skill develops among the children, among us. And with background is, of course, is long-term, coming 100, 200 years, going to be very important for water. There could be a war just because of water sharing, okay, or water scarcity. Energy storage is another important part, is going to be very important I mean, more and more we will move from a carbon society, a decarbon society. So in that case, either the renewable sources need to be stored because it's intermittent, and so we need to store, and efficient storage and green storage is so important. And the other important part is cyber physical space, which is already, we are all into this space. We're already working in the environment of AI, ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. If you simply use a Google device, all the time actually AI/ML is being used to track you, to give you feed. Lots of feed is coming. How the feed is coming? Because they are showing, they are actually using the background AI/ML, that what is your behavior of such. Based on that, it gives a feed. That's a simple thing. You have a train that gives you feed that you have a train at 12 noon today, or a flight tomorrow morning. So it actually reads you and gives a feed based on AI/ML. So this is have started, but this is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a huge scope for AI/ML every sphere of life, not only in making steel or in diagnostics or in healthcare, but also in every inch, everywhere. Even that skill, that application, even the bottom of the pyramid also would get, and they are using it. They're using mobile phone. Now let's go into some story that I'm trying to talk about. I'm going to talk about Dubai Design Week, some of the honorary mention of design from India that has been showcased in 2018 and 2019. The one which is showing you portable solar light, it's very simple. Everybody knows that this is available in the market. Previously, it was to be huge because it would storage will be done in a lead acid battery, very heavy, very bulky, but with the use of lithium-ion battery, it becomes small. So you use a light and the solar cell together so that it is portable. If you work in a village, you can use in the night while cooking, or your children can read. I mean, so that you can move from one room to another room when you are in a village. This is a gummy shovel. It's a dung collection, small unit for dung collection. Otherwise, in village, people use hand to collect dung. But then, of course, there is a use of this dung collection system, which is very hygienic. This is a portable dental chair, a very simple dental chair. When you have a clinic in village, there you require this dental chair to be used. And these are interior design in 2019 that is being put forward. This is a simple thing, but this is made of cane. And these are the blocks. These blocks can be put together to make different shapes. You can sit, it can be rack, it can be anything. So I'll come back to this slide, the importance of this slide, and this is all done by the Indian student, those who are in the design area. These are entry by the Indian student, and this was had an honorary mention in Dubai Design Week in the award ceremony. Now let us, keeping that aside, what I want. What we want, we have that we have come up with a new education policy, and this caters towards new education policy quite well. What we require is that our school system needs to be changed thoroughly, because what was built by the Britishers in 1920s or 30s as still being taken forward without hardly any change. There may be a change of syllabus, but the pedagogy, the way of teaching has not been changed. But elsewhere, this has been changed drastically. So we work on an archaic model. What we should work on the primary education from 1 to 6 standard is less classroom, text-based education, more through nature observation. If all of you understand, the most of the solution and the problem also comes from nature. That you have a problem, and then if you see that solution, whether it's a very scientific solution to hardcore research, whether it's a device, whether it's a simple building a new technology for sowing a seeds, everything comes from nature. That we try to copy nature, then we take to the lab, we develop it, and then we market it with a device or a solution which is affordable and not very costly. So it is very important for children to learn the surrounding. It's very important to have field trips, nearest village, district, state, observe and write point-wise report. Okay, very important that you have a school in urban area or in city, go to garbage collection system, a disposal system, go to water purification system where the water is being purified and being given to or being distributed through a pipeline, go to a bus station where the transport system is there. It may be probably working not well or it is working. They should learn every bit of human life from morning to evening, wherever there is some a system or a experience that they can gather, that they should learn. I mean, it is not going for a picnic to go outside. It is going to go for all these places, maybe a workshop, a small workshop to know what is going on in the workshop, or maybe a garden to know about the species, insects, flora and fauna, the greeneries or the trees or the plants or the flowering plant and so on and so forth. And then language should be Hindi or mother tongue. English should be also be learned just for objective writing. So when you go and give a report, either you give a report in Hindi or your mother tongue, or you write in English. English is just required to have a objective writing. Nothing more than that is required in English. If you are going to be a writer, of course, you will have that, you will understand that I want to be a writer. I need to learn more English, or maybe I want to be a writer in my mother tongue, in Odia, Telugu, or Tamil, or Bangla, or English, or Hindi. You will understand that because this comes from inside, that you want to be a literate person who will write prose, poetry, poem, novel, whatever. So concepts of physics, chemistry, maths can be given, but not in terms of laws. You don't require Newton's law of motion in the class as 4th. You require much more, because Newton's law of motion or Newton's gravitational law you learn in class 6, then you learn it again in class 10, again in 11, even in your engineering or in science education. But this is all about reproducing it in your copybook or answer sheet. It's not about that. You have to know, you have to understand that. So for understanding that, let that come from when you visit different places where the application of Newton's law is there or not. People will understand easily when you go to a higher degree level. Next comes the secondary education from 7 to 10, little higher form. So then you introduce physics, chemistry, maths, life sciences and concepts, being accounting, business and economics, even then at 7th standard or 8th standard. You have a person who is going to discontinue his education after 10th. He's going to do a diploma, or he's going to have a handiwork experience. Then he has to open a shop on maybe fixing or plumbing or leather goods or stitching. So he has to understand accounting, business and economics. Because if you see the small shop owner, many of them are not good in accounting, although they learn by opening a shop, slowly they learn how to do things, but they don't do things properly. Many of them are not good business, and that is why business mind, and that is why they incur a lot of loss. Okay, so that you need to teach them even early, not later. Generally we do after class 10, generally we do after class 12, and so on and so forth. And again, local solution, local development is very important. Some important examples can be given. Field trips, important. Previous field trips were very local. These field trips will be different state. A student from Tamil Nadu visit Orissa student visit Northeast, and vice versa. You host it, also you visit, and you learn about the culture of different places, the habitat you learn there, the way they work. I mean, it could be different, and each places there is something to learn and something to give them and something to take from them. Also, it's very important for India that we have a very diverse culture and we have a unity in diversity. That's a very, very important Indian ethos, that should be maintained. And in the young age itself, you should move and you should learn what a person in Nagaland is doing, whether he's suffering, whether he's doing well, what way we can help, and we can learn from something from them. And in turn, a person from Nagaland should visit Odisha or visit Madhya Pradesh and have the same thinking. So these are the important thing. Then lab course is such important, which is thoroughly neglected in school in India. I mean, except for the few school, normally school, the lab is more important. So hands-on training, tools, group activities. Many of us are very good in giving a solution of a differential equation. We don't know where to use the differential equation, how to form the differential equation. But if we work in a group, then we do not know how to solve the equation, how to erect a bridge. We are learning. We are now learning. We're much better than 20 years back. But group activity is so important. Now, in that time, of course, in class 8, you are not supposed to build a bridge in a group activity. You are supposed to sing a song. You're supposed to take part in theater play, sports, organization skill set has to be developed at the young age. Then only when you go after 4th year of BTech or BSc 3 year or 12th, and you are becoming an entrepreneur, you will succeed. Then you will know how to take everybody with you. And you have to remember that everybody has some positive and negative. Okay, so with that, a person is complete, and even some with positive attitude and character, he can build his own business and entrepreneurship skills. Higher education, here I've talked about diploma, graduation. This is taking this forward. Okay, whether one goes to higher education, okay, one goes to diploma or business, services, management, he can choose. He either, sometimes it is done based on the marks, but I think it should come within. And certainly, if your education is such that after class 12, somebody says that even if I got a good marks, I'm going to go for a business, I'm going to build this small plastic toy, and this is the toy, I'm going to make it. I do not require for that a BSc, even 12th standard, whatever polymer I have learned, the lesson I have learned in class 6 and class 12, it is enough. And I know the banking, I know the accounting, and I start a business. Why? It is quite possible. You go to Western country, developed country, many of them are like that. And so these are the important things that I'm going to talk about. Now coming back here, how these inventions have come up to them. Gomi Shovel, a student from NID, he created this. He said, my mother used to collect cow dung and used to make this urja, that you must be knowing that that cake of cow dung being used for it's still today in village and urban area for cooking cooking purpose. So she used to have a lot of infection in his nail, and that is the reason why he remembered that my mother used to have an infection in nail, and I should have done something to collect cow dung such that you don't touch with your hand. And that's this Gomi shovel, which collects it, which blocks it to be falling down, and it has got a stick, which is of course not shown here, to carry and place it just by the side of the cow dung, and so that you can push and collect it. This also is a similar kind of, they thought that this was very bulky one. Can we have very slick design of solar cell and a light together, which can be movable from one room to another room, wherever maybe one set you have. In a kitchen in the village, you are using cooking in the night. Maybe after that, if somebody is using it for doing some work. This is for dental work in the home, in the village, where, I mean, simply sometimes they use chair, but it is easily can be made a portable dental chair where he can be visibly observed. So these are they did not win the design award, but there was given honorably mentioned. And how they're connected, this is all from somebody from NID, somebody from IIT design group in IIT Bombay, somebody from IIT DM Jabalpur. I mean, whole lot of people have done it because of their experience that design has come up. And students in the age of 19 to 24 has come up with this. And see, so important that all of you to understand that if you have a product, if you develop, and then if you can give a job to 20-30 people, suppose one of you come out and open a startup, and then you flourish, then you open a company, you can, if you can give a job to 30 people, a small startup, an SME, and such, if there are thousands of them, then so many people will get job in India. Because it is not possible for government of India to give job to 130 billion people. If, of course, out of which 50% are working, let's say about 70 billion jobs, if is next to impossible for government to give. If you go to any developed country, the 40% of the job in US and Europe by SMEs, the startups, 40%. And government jobs are very less. And permanent government jobs even less. They're all on contract. And that is also happening in India. So it's so important that our education system is such that we make everybody prepare to become an entrepreneur. And when they go to a startup, they already are very much mature. So the key issues to be looked into is grassroots entrepreneurship playing a disruptive role in the ecosystem, which I mean is that schooling system is such that you learn from the very beginning the surrounding, and you learn the problem that you have the beginning itself, and then you know that what kind of solution you're going to come up when you start past class 12, class 10, or BSc or BTech. I mean, at different levels of solution, different kind of problems can be taken up. Okay. Incubators, accelerators, and competitors for promoting entrepreneurship, this is already exists, but we do not have enough incubation centers in the country to cater, let's say, about 30 billion students that we are having all places. Okay. Innovation and design thinking. This, of course, business fitness of lean startup. So innovation and design thinking, of course, this is, I think, can be taught. It comes from inside, but of course, you can be nurtured in an incubation center by many people who are actually championing this. Different values, pedagogical approaches, which I already talked about for entrepreneurship. Also, the teaching on entrepreneurship. What is who is an entrepreneur? How you think that you could be an entrepreneur? All these things can be taught even from the class 8. Role of entrepreneurship solve systemic problem in education. Okay, education itself also can be solved because you become an entrepreneur for education system. I talked about such a school. Why don't you become an entrepreneur to open a school which will take such kind of things? Social entrepreneurship is another thing that is very important. We always try to have a solution for smartphone, mobile app. That's not. You have to go to village to see what kind of problem they are facing. And social entrepreneurship is so important. And many people are coming with a solution, simple solution. I have seen one in one of the pitch practice, that one person came up with a straw made of a leaf of nariyal tree. That means in coconut tree, the leaf, when becomes very ripe and tough, then you can roll them to make a straw. The straws are currently made of, used to be paper, which is costly, and now it is being made cheap by plastic. But instead of plastic, if I use a leaf, palm leaf or coconut leaf, and spiral, woven them to make a cylinder or a hollow cylinder, then that can work as a perfect straw. And there is a solution, and it is a very good solution, which is a very green solution. So I'm going to talk about today about debate, monitoring, exchange, and piloting. The startup education is important in that. I also know that it comes from schools, then it goes to universities, public authorities, entrepreneur, experts, developers, and companies. These are in a cycle runs around. So once you have this debate, piloting, exchange, and monitoring in these systems, that is how you will come up with a solution, and you will see many entrepreneurs. I mean, that is what happened also in Japan in 40, 50 years back, and happened in 30 years back in Korea, and Korea is flourishing like anything. Okay, 20 years back you would say, oh, made in Korea, I won't take it. But today you use most of the product coming out of Korea. Then now it's in China as well. So these things happen in the same fashion that you have 100 entrepreneurs, at least 10 of them will be very, very successful. I mean, some will of course fail, but then he will, if you try 10 times, it will be success once. So many people become an entrepreneur, they have a product, they fail, they have a second product, they fail, they have a 9th product, they pass, they make money, big company, and somebody buys it, or he flourish on his own. So what is the today's story? The today's story that I'm talking about failure is there. That story about rabbit and tortoise. We all know the story of rabbit and tortoise. I don't have to tell them. Slow and steady wins the race. That is the first story. But the second time, the rabbit came and told that, okay, I want to have one more race with you. And then he understood that what made him fail, because he was not very steady. He took a rest. He was sleeping. Next time, of course, rabbits win, because he was consistent and he was having speed. So no way tortoise can win. Then tortoise thought, okay, you have this, let me have a third challenge. So he again told rabbit, okay, this time again we will go for a race. But then he said that the path will be defined by me. Okay, so actually the tortoise defined the path. And so that's the important strategy and innovative idea. Today you have to make a fridge or make a car. There are at least 10 people already there from Korea, Japan, China, or maybe US, maybe less from US now. Okay, so if you have to have a refrigerator as a product, you have to bid all of them. So you have to have a strategy and you have to have innovative idea. So the third time when the race started, both of them started. Obviously, rabbit was consistent and speedy. He moved much ahead. Then he found a river in the course. So he doesn't know how to cross the river. So he waited to see how I cross the river, because I cannot cross the river. Tortoise came, he knows how to cross the river. So tortoise crossed the river and he won the race. Rabbit could not. So strategy and innovative idea is so important. Okay, so all these things of network or showcase events and good practice, all these are strategy to succeed at a innovation or your entrepreneurship. So I conclude here today now. What did I talk about? I talk about, of course, first part is about IIMMT, where I'm the director. I actually steered this lab. So I thought I tell everybody that what important thing, and we already working on Atmanirbhar Bharat, because all mineral deposits and metal extraction, metallurgy is all we give to our own companies like Nalco, Balco, Hindalco, Tata Steel, Vedant, JSPL, JSW, JSL, you name any company, with everybody. I mean, I said that in every year we generate about 44 crore, and out of which 80% comes from industry, and all these industries are involved. IREL, NMDC, you name, Ansar Mittal, everybody we give a solution in India. We give a total plant design as well. So that is the first part. But importantly, what was today's topic, especially in the young scientist convention in IISF, India International Science Festival, is the academic program. We required an academic program from the school, which is totally different. I'm not saying this is only for the few people. We should do for everybody. The school system should be such that observe and learn. That's very, very important, which is totally missing in our system. It is all rote learning we talk about, but still there is a lot of writing comes, a lot of people talk like me, but then you have to apply that. You have to have school such kind of syllabus in the school. So big push coming from there. Then of course the hand-holding or the research parts and government schemes like Atal Mission that we have, all the incubation centers supported by government of Odisha, government of the Startup India, and of course the institute like us who also are supporting. So research parks or the incubation centers under research parks are where this entrepreneurship skill or entrepreneur can be developed, hand-holding by various organizations. It's not only but you also require to be handheld by different organizations. Let's say I want to have a small SME who will be using steel to make product. I want to make flower vase, I want to make chair, because Tata Steel is producing a lot of steel. But at the end, if the use of steel is more and more, then only more steel will be produced, and that will make sense as a business plan. But at the end, whether in the value chain, whether all the user or all the manufacturer or entrepreneurs are there or not, aluminum, there's a lot of aluminum is being produced. Of course, there's a use of aluminum in normal different sectors, but can you open a company who makes aluminum door and windows and sells to the market? Why not? It is quite possible. So I think hand holding with the bigger industry is also very important, and create a demand in the market and show that this is a product which you can use it. You don't have to go for a tree. You don't have to cut tree and take wood and make only door window out of wood. It is quite possible to make from maybe an alloy of aluminum cheap, which is strong yet but light, so that you can move your window pan very easily. So with this, I stop here. And thank you again, once again, for inviting me. And I will be happy to answer any questions.